Welcome, everyone. What we learn in the next few months could shape the delivery of reference services. Do you know what's been going on regarding libraries in the current coronavirus pandemic? Are you in the loop? The goal of this presentation is that you'll be aware of recent and changing happenings in reference services so you can develop ideas about how libraries and librarians can continue to adapt and move forward. I've gathered a few snapshots or perspectives of library and reference services over the last 60 to 90 days. For this investigative report in reference services, I considered several topics, but ultimately decided on the most pressing issue facing all of us at this time, the coronavirus pandemic. With this in mind, I'd like to share pandemic perspectives that I've been able to compile. I'll address how this all began, information and misinformation, digital delivery issues, current programming, help for librarians, social problems, and thoughts on reopening. News outlets began announcing the arrival of a new virus in December, and the first cases in the United States were reported in Washington State in January. A University of South Carolina campus health notice was posted on the university website on March 9th. Governor Henry McMaster announced a state of emergency March 15th, and schools formally closed. A 2016 Pew Research poll found that 78% of adults thought that libraries helped them find trustworthy and reliable information. However, misinformation cannot be eliminated. Some libraries held information sessions, quote, Civic Lab Coronavirus, distinguishing fears from facts, end quote, was the name of one. Many other libraries published guides for their communities. Library organizations have taken other steps to combat misinformation. The Federal Depository Library Program held a webinar to discuss the frauds and scams that play on fears surrounding the coronavirus. Distance or virtual reference can be viewed in two ways: digital and adapted traditional resources. In some cases, traditional services have been moved outside the building. Curbside services are made available when possible. Others, however, caution against curbside delivery for safety reasons that libraries are often not prepared to face. Beyond these examples, print collections are currently not available. Digital delivery issues. What are the delivery issues when digital is the only possibility and print is not available? Perhaps the most glaring issue of the current crisis is the digital divide. ALA has encouraged libraries to keep Wi-Fi open, and many library parking lots are doing double duty as study areas. Bookmobiles have shut down their normal services, but they've been turned into mobile hotspots. Libraries are diverting their print budgets to digital delivery options and are offering devices of many kinds. Mobile hotspots are increasingly available. The current crisis shines a spotlight on how effective the digital services of libraries by themselves without print and face-to-face interaction. New digital delivery issues. At this point, the concerns about digital delivery are not different than they were before. The current surge in digital activity, though, is raising new issues. Online usage is through the roof. Zoom bombing is a suggestion for a new dictionary word. My son's friend told us that he was in a computer safety class on Zoom that was Zoom bombed with pornography. The irony of that situation is almost too much to handle. libraries are being encouraged to use social media more. Facebook Stories, Instagram, Twitter, Discord, TikTok, and the list goes on. Studies suggest that librarians struggle with engagement from patrons on social media. The current pandemic could open new possibilities, as current challenges could present these. One library uses its social media platform for students to post and record their community service hours on TikTok. By April, a majority of states had some form of stay-at-home orders or were requiring social distancing, masks, limiting of groups, or some form of these to slow the pandemic. With so many schools closed and so many workers at home, librarians are working to meet the challenges faced by their patrons by using tools they already have in their toolbox. Librarians were already meeting educational needs of school children. Many of these services continued or increased. Story time, book chats, online clubs were services that were already expected. Most libraries have moved educational tools to a more prominent place on their website. Lesser known ideas are becoming common to our library programming: family movie nights, live concerts, yoga, tea and paint, and poetry readings. Library websites contain numerous links beyond traditional written word for patrons to deal with the stress of working or not working from home. The social unrest that arises from unemployment has led libraries to bring workforce readiness resources and adult education resources available to patrons. Estimates place unemployment at record highs for people across the country, with the poor and uneducated being hit the hardest. Public libraries that provide services to the homeless, such as the Richland County Library System in South Carolina, worked with the United Way and collected and delivered their 40 standing hand sanitizing stations to local homeless shelters. They also brought and placed porta potties outside their downtown libraries. Statistics for librarians being furloughed or temporarily laid off are staggering. Public library budgets, far beyond the scope of this investigation, are always looking for ways to stretch the dollar, and the closing of library locations makes this particularly difficult. However, knowledge of the current situation can help the unemployed feel less alone. The Library Journal has kept records on layoffs nationwide, and knowledge about this situation can help. ALA has countless resources. Its publications provide help dealing with the emotional costs of the crisis. Mental health and self-care must remain a priority, especially when reference workers are expected to be customer-oriented. We're fortunate that we have knowledge of resources to access to provide self-care. A long list of items has to be evaluated, mostly at an administrative level, before reopening can occur. Reopening will look different across spaces and places everywhere. Just a few of the considerations are PPE, that's personal protective equipment, staff training, cleaning, and handling materials. Many more references can be found below the YouTube video. The references for the things that I've mentioned can also be found there. I hope this presentation has helped you to gain insights into librarians, and how they're dealing with the current pandemic.